Okay. We are now recording so that the yellow and green team both have an opportunity to hear from a choir at the same time, and we can forgive me, this has been an ongoing cough. Please feel free to diagnose me, find me. My name is Ruth Pal Nganga. I am a part of the Acquire team, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the second cohort of the 2026 Quality Improvement and Patient Safety Experiential Leadership Journey. We are going to be journeying together. I mean, at some point, we'll come back and ask you, is this a journey? Is this a project? Is it a cohort? Is it a program? Is it a course? We don't know. We are in a PDSA cycle, so we are willing to be adjusted as we go. So next slide, Sarah. We are going to start off with ground rules. We are doing this in plenary because it's important that everybody is on the same page. We are here to learn. Learning happens when you participate. Backbenchers, when you're partially there, you're not learning as much. Actually, one of the things you'll hear us emphasize is that reflective practice is a core element of learning. Meaning, you have to talk back to yourself, talk back to the people in your team, talk back by journaling or writing notes. If you don't talk back as an adult, it is very likely you're not learning. I'm trying to use softer language, not to say you really are not, but if you're not reflecting, are you learning? That's the question. So all of us learn, and we will know that because you're going to see we have many opportunities for you to input and reflect. We're on a first name basis, so feel free to call me Ruth Pal. I like to say it was the biggest consensus in history. You can see my parents arrived at a consensus. So honor both of them. It's Ruth Pal, not Ruth or Pal. So you remember that. So what's your first name? Remember to introduce yourself. We use first names. I'm sure you have worthy titles, but for these few minutes we have together, first name is enough. We sent you an email with this dashboard. The dashboard is your all in all. It is where you find all of your resources. You will not be able to get through today's meeting or any of the work you have to do if you haven't logged into your dashboard. Are you having trouble with your dashboard? Please use the chat function right now. We have Acquire team members that are ready to support you to make sure that you get into your dashboard. So please use the chat. Say, I am struggling with this, I am struggling with that. We are very, very happy to help. It's an easy to use dashboard, but if for some reason you're experiencing any challenge, please use the dashboard. Remember, you will not be able to carry on if you can't access the dashboard and the resources on it. You will see, just like we did today, we start on time and end on time. Feel free to run late. You will find us along the way. And you can see we've actually even put time in our slides so that you can follow the agenda and follow what we are doing. We are also asking you to be present. You can see all our cameras are on because essentially we want to be in the same meeting room with you. The internet and COVID brought us this opportunity to learn together virtually. But learning does not take place half-hearted. Are you cooking tea at home? Are you trying to work on a patient? We are only made of one mind. Multitasking is a lie. I think by now the science has proven it. Just sit down, have your camera on. Let's spend these hours together. Nobody who puts in the time will have the same skill level at the end of October. So are you here to grow, to learn? You're in the right place. Go on, Sarah. So this is just what you should be seeing. Sarah is showing us what she sees when she gets into her dashboard. When you get into yours, again, remember you're clicking on the Acquire Experiential Leadership Program. We have several other courses going on. You will see, can you see the foundational online course? It's amongst the course you need to go through. But let's go and hear a little bit more about Acquire, Sarah. We started about 5 years ago. It's Lydia Kutoi, Mary, Adam, and I started. And now we have a few people, you're hearing me mention Sarah, that have joined this boat. And we have a very serious and simple vision that we don't need to wait for anyone external to us to build our own learning. We don't need to wait for WHO to come and improve us. We don't need to wait for the government or someone. We ourselves in our daily work in the hospitals can learn, we can improve, and you'll see our vision is very, very bold. We want to see healthcare systems in Africa that are characterized by continuous learning. And this continuous learning means better quality of care for all. This is why we are here, to strengthen the capacity of frontline healthcare workers, institutions, governments. We want you to be able to apply rigorously performed quality improvement research. So we will be teaching you about the science of quality improvement slowly through the many courses, through the various things we do over these 16 weeks together. You will learn. Go ahead, Sarah, and take us to the things that we are focusing on. You are you've had there 9 countries here. You're participating with people in different contexts. You get to learn across contexts. There's every single discipline here we can think of. You're working alongside clinical and non-clinical professionals. There are things you know, there are things they know. You get to learn together and share your learning. You will be honestly an expert in use of virtual tools. You will be able to come out of here and say that is one of the things you can do well. You will be able to apply something we call the A3 methodology. It's what I'm referring to as a science of quality improvement. It did not originate with Acquire. It actually originated with the car manufacturers. So we'll tell you a little bit about that, but it will be one of the things you know well. The tools that help you problem solve, that help you figure out root cause analysis, that help you understand your data, collect it, review it, analyze it. You'll be able to develop local evidence on the ground. As I said, we are not waiting for other people to solve the problems. We are here to solve them ourselves. And hopefully this is the first of hundreds of improvement projects that you will run. That's the plan. That's the point. Again, we are asking you to show up twice. You show up at this all hands meeting, but then between now and the next 2 weeks when we see each other, we expect that you'll show up at your own project meeting, your facility meeting, that you will contribute to moving your project forward, that you will not be part of the people who bring the aeroplane down. Let's move it forward, Sarah. These are the things we are expecting of every person who's a part of the team. Very simple. There's something we call, you're hearing that this science of quality improvement is in something we're calling the A3. This A3 workspace is in your dashboard. And we expect you to edit into it. Like now, you will see at the end of the session today, we are asking you to edit in and fill out, review your title, review your problem statement, review your headline. That's your homework. The thing you need to do between now and 2 weeks from now. We know that you might not be feeling very clear on how do I improve my title. That's why you have an A3 foundational course. So go start the A3 foundational course. You'll see that the A3 course literally lines up. The foundation course lines up with your A3 workspace. So go and do level 1, do 0.5, do level 1. You'll see it will answer all your questions around what it is you're expected to discuss as a group and agree on and improve. Essentially create clarity on what it is you want to do. What is the problem you want to solve? So you will get to know your A3 workspace. You start the A3 foundational course. You're here. We are expecting you to attend every single Thursday all hands meeting. This is actually a requirement for a graduation. And then we want you to be a part of your team meetings, and we will be asking the team to review each other. Who is showing up? Who's not doing anything? Who's being a backbencher? We will make your team function. Those are some of the things we're asking of you. Okay, let's keep going. Now we get to listen to a video. We know that, so it's going to be very fast and not everyone is going to understand. Don't worry, we'll come back into plenary and we will articulate together what it is we have heard and what it is we have learned. So now let's go ahead and listen to this story from 2007. I don't know whether you remember when a Kenya Airways flight went down in Douala, Cameroon. It's one of those really sad instances, but it also ended up being an important learning opportunity. So let's start learning.
Fallout between the 52-year-old captain and the 23-year-old first officer. The investigation team zeroed in on the cockpit voice recorder. The recording of the first leg from Abidjan to Douala revealed why the first officer remained silent after being shouted and shut down by the captain. The captain was heard screaming at the first officer, asking what was wrong with him. And when the officer asked him whether he had told him to rise to 1,400 feet, the captain retorted, "Yes, don't be stupid. Write it down if you can't remember." He added, "What is wrong with you? Did you not hear the instructions? Investigators deduced that with that tongue lashing, the first officer shut down, explaining why he was withdrawn most of the time, only engaging the captain in one-offs. At 11:20 p.m., the controller transmitted the data and KQ507 requested clearance and was granted. But at 11:37 p.m. announced cancelling the startup to await for a lull in the weather. Heavy rain and storm had engulfed the airside. Visibility was 800 meters. But 14 minutes later, at 11:54 p.m., the captain asked the first officer to request taxi clearance, and the first officer appeared surprised at the speed at which instructions were being issued. The captain told him to try and keep up. He checked the storm position using the aircraft onboard weather radar and figured the route around the storm, informing the control tower that after departure he would maintain heading left. But the first officer whispered to the right, forcing the captain to correct by saying sorry to the right. It seems the captain's mind was engaged on how he would navigate the heavy storm. At 6 minutes past midnight, KQ507 took off without takeoff clearance by the control tower, which is a major procedural breach. At 1,000 feet climbing, the captain released the flight controls after 55 seconds and called OK command, but the first officer did not respond in affirmation. The autopilot was not engaged. The captain released flight controls without having engaged the autopilot. The plane was flying itself. The captain appeared unaware of the aircraft's changing altitude and reportedly utters an expression of surprise. The plane began tilting sharply to the right, and at 34 degrees, the bank angle warning sounded. That was when they realized the autopilot was not engaged, prompting intense action in an attempt to level the plane. And that is when a catastrophic mistake was made. The captain engaged the autopilot, but after 5 seconds, out of panic, he again started inputting the yoke and roller pedals, effectively overruling the autopilot, which would have resolved the situation had it not have been interfered with. According to procedure, when the captain calls for autopilot to be engaged, the first officer should push the CMD button and respond by saying autopilot engaged. Just before the bank angle warning sounds, the captain grabbed the controls, appeared confused about the attitude of the aircraft, making corrections in an erratic manner, increasing the bank angle to 50 degrees right. That is when the autopilot was engaged and the inclination tended to stabilize. Then movements of the flight controls by the pilot resumed and the bank angle increased towards 70 degrees. It was at that juncture that the captain screamed, "We are crashing," and the first officer responded in affirmative. A prolonged right rudder input brought the bank angle to beyond 90 degrees and the aircraft descended in spiral dive. The first officer frantically called out to the captain to level the wings by the right, then quickly corrected and insisted, "Left, left, left, captain." The bank angle was reduced to 70 degrees and the flight hit the ground, crashing into the swamp.
From my initial investigation on the ground, it was that there was a disagreement between the first officer and the pilot. And when I spoke to an air controller, an air traffic controller down in Cameroon, they told us in private that there was some argument between them and this pilot because he had a birthday to attend in Nairobi, I think the following day. But he was advised that you can't take off because there's a storm. But he insisted I need to take off. So was it a pilot error? From my initial investigation and my initial report, yes, it was a pilot error. But I think years later, I think something came out of it. And yes, the character of the pilot, whose remains I hear have never been found up until now, even the remains of the first officer, was that the pilot was a man who had taken shortcuts in his career, and he was a man who would not get along with his first officer. So maybe that was led to the crash in Cameroon.
Thank you.